All right, welcome to episode number 216 of the Lead Pedal Podcast. I'm your host, Bruce Outridge, and today we are going to talk to Safety Dog again about the future of trucking. And I tell you, I'm not sure what the future of trucking is going to hold for us. This episode is sponsored by Driver Check. So when we come back, we're going to be in our virtual studio with Mr. Dog as he's in his and I'm in mine, and we will catch you later. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. All right, so we have the dog on the line in our virtual studios. You're in yours, I'm in mine. All right, so before we get into, we're going to talk about the future of trucking. So, but the one thing I wanted to talk about was, I don't know if you saw this on our Lead Pedal Podcast Facebook page. I put a video of a car that was playing around with one of the trucks. So he came in, it was a dash cam. Car came in front.
And he hits the
playing on the brakes. Yeah.
I did see that.
What are drivers supposed to do?
On the Lead Pedal Podcast Facebook page. Just
that's right.
A plug.
Yes. So what are drivers supposed to do when that's happening to them?
Go get a coffee?
No. Me. Yeah. There was a couple comments, which I won't say who they were, but they were actually pretty good comments. I won't say who they were because there are people who are supposed to be promoting something different. One was to stop at the side of the road and beat him to a pulp, which I thought was a quality.
Although hilarious, not appropriate.
No. And then there was one where it says, send the dash cam to the police and have them charge the person, which I thought was a lot more reasonable.
Yeah.
I know what I've seen on other videos. A bunch of truck drivers just get together and beat them to a pulp. Go back to the first one.
Well, let's go back to that scenario. What do you do at the time as a truck driver?
Yeah.
What can you do?
Well, without hitting them and putting them into next week, which might cause more damage to you than so. I would say pull off the road, but that doesn't mean it's going to stop the action, right?
No. I mean, my defense would be to slow down. And if the car in front of you slows down to such a speed that, we're in Canada, so we're doing 100 or 110 are the legal speed limits here in the highways, and you're doing less than 80, now you are being a hindrance to the road and a safety hazard.
Yeah.
So, how slow do you slow down?
Well, you can always slow down. Plus, at the same time, this person's still playing with you, right? So, like, if you watch the video, it's to the point where you're almost hitting the back of the vehicle, like he's playing that close to you. So, and I'm not sure pulling over is the safest thing either. I mean, there's some real wackos out there, and you pull over, and this guy comes out with a gun. Nobody's any better, right? So, you and I are both trainers. We both do a lot of training. So, what do you tell people? I tell them to kind of stop, but that doesn't. I don't really know what else. I really don't know what else you could do other than stopping and hoping this person takes off and just continues on. But then there's another problem that may happen. What's your thoughts?
The only thing I can suggest, thinking of safety, if you pull over, as you've already implied, that could open up other safety concerns.
Correct.
So go to a truck stop where there's at least other people around. And if the car follows you to that truck stop, I would be calling 911.
Yeah.
Saying, I don't know why this guy's following me. And largely, I think most of the time you do know why he's following you, because perhaps you made a mistake. It happens. Or perhaps it was a perceived mistake.
Right.
But either way, with what's happening in the world today, we're recording this a few weeks after another mass shooting at a high school.
Yeah.
Don't play around with these people. We don't know, unfortunately, the mentality or the mental capacity, not capacity, what's the word, Bruce, that I'm looking for? The mental stability of the person that you're playing with out there.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, I would say pull over if you can, just so that you don't have this accident. Because the way they play it is the car comes up in front, comes into you, is playing with the brakes. When you hit them from the back, you're the ex-insurance guy. So when you hit them from the back, that now becomes your incident, right? It's your accident. You hit them.
Unless you have a dash cam to prove otherwise, any accident from the rear is your fault.
Okay.
And And what you've just mentioned, though, is there are people in this world who purposely cause that rear end accident so that they can get benefits from the insurance company and so that they can sue the trucking company. It is unfortunately a game, and it is quite affluent. They are very successful at that game. So
Yeah,
don't get
yeah.
caught in that one.
And we actually live not too far. You and I don't live in that community, but there's a community not too far that is known for that. Starts with a B. I'm in Burlington.
Yeah.
It's not Burlington. So
Well,
when we
and
got
I haven't heard of that lately.
no,
There was a big ring about 5 years ago that was broken up and charges laid and everything else.
oh, good,
But yeah,
good.
I haven't heard of that lately. Dash cams, drivers, if you can afford one, they are your best defense. I really promote you spending the money to get a dash cam if you can.
Yeah. Okay, so that brings us into the future of trucking. Thank you, Chris, for that nice segue from my road rage incident to the future of trucking. That's, I think that's great.
And dash cams are part of that future.
I know that's where we're going. So yeah, so dash cams weren't around. That was a he say, she say, her say, whatever. Years ago, it was just your word against the other drivers, and now there's actually dash cam to prove it, which is showing that truck drivers are not just making up all of this stuff. So, what is our future? We're going into dash cams. We just went into ELDs this year. Uh, for the most part, for most people, a lot we're already on it. What's coming up next? Autonomous vehicles? Do I even say that?
How does, no, you don't say autonomous. How does Mike Million from PMTC say it? Driver assisted trucks?
Driver assisted, right? Because they still have to be in the vehicle. He says there is no autonomous vehicle, and I agree with that. And I saw a commercial this morning I think Cadillac has it where you just can like hold your hands on your coffee cup and the car does all the driving down the road. So they're promoting that in regular vehicles. If it goes there, what are the drivers doing? Like, why do we have the drivers?
First of all, I hope it goes there.
Yeah.
I read an interesting article by somebody who's much smarter than myself, and I forget his name, but he predicts once we get 100% of these vehicles on the road, that 95% of collisions will be gone. So the amount of lives that we will save and the amount of bodily injury and everything else that we will be saving is huge if once we do get there. So, but how do you get there? Right. I think that's the big question. Right. Trucks are already capable, the technology is here that the truck could actually drive down the road by itself without any intervention from humans. Is that what we want as a society? Are we going to allow that as a society? Will the regulators regulate it? In California, I didn't bring this up when Mike was talking about the driver-assisted vehicles. In California, this month, which is, we're recording this in March, they just legalized self-driving vehicles with no driver behind the wheel. The companies like the Googles and Teslas and stuff, they can apply for a permit now to have that. However, they have to have somebody at a remote location monitoring the vehicle.
Right.
So in my mind, I envision drones. The U.S. Air Force has a lot of drones. And it was funny. I was just at an Air Force base, and I wasn't allowed to go into the building where the drone pilots are located. But I was there, and he said, that's high, top secret.
Yeah. But they're in there.
But that's where they are. They're flying the drones in, over in Afghanistan or wherever it is. So that's what California is now allowing for vehicles. And they didn't say trucks. They just said vehicles. But I would think trucks would be included in that.
Okay, so if we don't need anybody in the car, is there a reason that we need the vehicle? It's a question I keep coming up with. It's like they're almost making it so that nobody needs the car. Like you don't need to be. Why do we have the cars? Like I can understand it from a taxi standpoint. It goes and picks up somebody, but I'm not sure that's going to work. For freight, yeah, you got to get freight. I see it as a gaming thing, like what you just said with the drones. A bunch of people in an office somewhere controlling the trucks as it goes down the road. But then why do we need the driver? I'm not sure we need the driver if we're going the way we're going.
I don't know. I do believe at one point there will be no drivers. Is it going to be in the next 25 to 30 years? I have my doubts. Don't think I'm going to see that while I'm alive. I'm in my 60s.
You might be surprised, my friend.
I,
You might be surprised.
well, I don't know. And this is where, like, Mike Millian and I do disagree. Um, but it depends on legislation. There was a great interview. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was on our friend's podcast, Trucker Radio.
Yep. Yeah.
Uh,
Mr. Stan Campbell.
Stan Campbell had an interview with a futurist,
Okay.
and for the life of me, I don't remember the fellow's name, but it was fascinating to me. He said right now he does not see driverless trucks.
No.
And he said it much more eloquently than I'm going to say it. However, he said as soon as a truck driver turns off the computer, takes over the controls of the vehicle, and then crashes and kills a senator's son,
yeah,
then we're going to see driverless trucks. Because had the driver not intervened, the collision likely wouldn't have happened in this situation. So I don't see that any government in North America has the want or the power to outlaw or to allow driverless trucks yet. I think that is years away. I do think it'll be similar to the airplane scenario where can a plane take off and land and fly from here to Timbuktu by itself? Absolutely. But they still mandate that a pilot be in the cockpit at all times. I think that for the foreseeable future, and I can't see very far.
Because he's an old guy.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how long it's going to take. I do believe there's going to be a day without drivers behind the seat. If I was a person wanting to become a truck driver, would I be afraid of doing that at the moment, of becoming a truck driver? And quite honestly, that's what I'm afraid of, Bruce, on this whole subject, is that we need truck drivers today. We want them in our industry. And if we say, hey, driverless trucks are 5 years away, why would they spend $8,000 to $12,000, whatever the cost of a truck driving school is today, to become a truck driver for a 5-year career?
Yeah, that's right. Well, this is the issue that we brought it up in the last episode of our podcast there, but this is the thing though. They're seeing the same ads we are. That Cadillac commercial was on mainstream TV. It was on during the news this morning. It's not something I just watched on YouTube or whatever. They're seeing all of this development. And if there's no clear path for them to say, okay, when I do get in, here's where I'm going to go when this happens. Because you and I think it won't be that soon. I think it'll be sooner than we all think, because 25 years ago, we didn't think technology. If you said 25 years ago, you're going to be on iPads and all this stuff, and Bruce, you'll be podcasting, I would have said you're flipping crazy. Now it's here. Yep. And the trucks are already rolling. It's not like it's not like a concept at Chrysler where it's the new show and they said, hey, here's what might happen 50 years. The trucks are already running freight down the road.